Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about IPL. Of course, election year, you know what happens when IPL happens during election year. It generally travels abroad. But what's going to happen this year? Will it stay here? Will it be 50-50? Joining us today, we have political commentator Mr. Gaurav Choudhury. Welcome to the show, sir. And tell me what's happening in IPL, sort of in a boardroom. What are they discussing? The big weeks of BCCI.
Thanks, Intro. 2024 clearly is a watershed year for India, not just because the big national elections are happening, but also it's IPL year. And we have seen since 2009, the first year after the IPL actually came into being in 2008, the first year after that was the big general elections. And we saw it for the first time that IPL move out within 1 year of big stage in India. The reason is quite simple. The government said that it cannot spare extra security forces, but because the priority is to hold the national elections with absolute security priority. And clearly we saw that happening again, repeating that again 5 years later in 2014, as also in 2019, in both these years, while in 2009 the entire IPL went out to South Africa. In 2014, and parts of it went out. The first phase, I think, went out of India and came back to India as we moved on to the later phases of elections.
Yes.
The big question this time, of course, is where is it going to move out? The first phase, if at all it is going to move out, whether it's going to move out to Dubai or some other parts of Asia, maybe Bangladesh. Clearly, IPL is not just about hosting cricket matches in physical venues. It is also as much a TV spectacle as it is a physical event, and that is why the timings of the matches will have to match. The time zones are critical here. If you move it out too far outside of Asia, I think you take the risk. You have the risk of actually taking away a large part of the audience out of the equation, because you need to be in prime time. Most of the matches need to be in prime time, evening time in India, when people have reached back home and watching these matches on their television sets at home, or where they have nothing else to do outside of the professions. So clearly this has to happen, and that is where there are I would assume that there's a lot of brainstorming would be going on inside the BCCI establishment at this point in time, and IPL, among IPL administrators, because do bear in mind that we also run into the World Cup, T20 World Cup, ICC T20 World Cup right after IPL, this time in June. And the calendar is very packed for India because England is visiting India. They arrive in India later this month for a 5-test series, which is being talked about as, for the first time, Buzz Ball will be seen in India. How does Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes' strategy of going all out actually work in India? That is outside of the SENA countries. That is something that everyone will be watching, or anyone who loves cricket or follows cricket will be watching, whether that makes. But Indra, just tell me, do you think, are you picking up anything from the BCCI sources, from your BCCI sources, that whether it's going to stay in India for the first time during an election year, or do you think it, like the previous 3 elections, is also going to move out of India, at least for some matches?
Like we say, timing is very important. Whether you're batting, if you have the right timing, you can actually sort of a lot of things. So what we are hearing is middle of March, the first weekend in the middle of March, the IPL is going to get underway. First half, the schedule would be announced by the BCCI, and then second half, and government is very keen that it happens here because of the timing. We're coming back to the same thing. The timing has to be good. Timing has to sort of match the Indian audience, because I believe more than 90% of IPL audience is on television and digital, of course, right now, on your phone and on your mobile, on your laptop, iPad, whatever. But coming back to whether full IPL will happen here, government is going to ensure it happens here. But if it doesn't, where can it go? Possibly we are playing the World Cup from 1st of June in America, in the West Indies. So how about having a bit of IPL, probably the playoff matches over there? Then you are committed to finish the game within the second week of May, because you have to have that gap, and you're traveling to the US and the West Indies for the World Cup. So and the World Cup gets underway from 1st of June. So it's, as you said, it's quite packed.
Yeah, it is quite packed. And in fact, right after the England series, if IPL actually starts in March, we would not end up giving players even a week's rest before they head into IPL. And IPL is high octane, high energy. Also, do bear in mind one thing, which I don't think we should ignore, is that we are probably looking at new title sponsor to come into IPL, and biddings for that will start. Now, to what extent the sponsors are going to influence to which country this moves out to, if at all IPL moves out to, given the fact that this is an election year, is going to get very interesting, because the sponsors clearly, because they are going to shell out the big bucks. They want maximum bang for the buck. Now, if you move it to a country where the timings will not match because of time zone, that could be a problem for the sponsors. And also, while holding matches in the US is a great idea, because it kind of symbolizes and is emblematic of the rapid globalization of cricket, which incidentally is an Indian sport that may have been accidentally founded in England, but right now it is an Indian sport by all measures, both in terms of performances on the field as well as also the money that is flowing in from India. Clearly, it is India that is going to, India's interest that is going to determine which way IPL also moves, because this is also please bear in mind that this is India's most successful startup outside of the tech ecosystem. It's a decacorn now. That is, it is valued at more than $10 billion. Even in the most trailblazing tech startups, you don't find too many decacorns which have made money so quickly and have become so successful that it has kind of set the world on fire. It's India's most success, despite being aside of being India's most successful startup outside of the tech world, it is also probably India's most globalized startup. So clearly, besides being a very successful cricket league or sporting league, it is also a business case study on how successful startups can be turned around in so little time.
I'll just give one straight question to both of you. Is the IPL really going to be organized for the picking up or the picking up as per schedule in the country?
So what we are picking up is that IPL could possibly happen. The entire schedule might happen here only because it's a logistical challenge, taking the entire team there, then selecting the team and everything. And what we are looking at, the selectors who are looking at the first half of IPL, from where they will pick the team for the World T20. I mean, the T20 World Cup. So this and the entire first half will be played here. So what we are understanding is it nothing works out because we have a good rapport with the UAE government and Sharjah and all that. Probably might travel there for a few weeks or something. I mean, do you think that is possible?
I would still think that at least some of the matches, at least matches of 2 or 3 weeks will travel out of India, because for the government and for the election commission and everyone else involved in holding elections in India, there is nothing more paramount and of high priority than holding a free and fair election so far as security is concerned. So I think some matches will definitely go out of India, and Dubai seems the likeliest possibility, given the fact that there is also a similarity in time zones, and also because television and title sponsorship interests will be largely met.
And one more last thing last time we had the elections here, election 2019, the current government could manage to hold the entire event here. Probably the World Cup coming and starting from 1st of June, that is probably sort of putting things really tight for the current organizers, isn't it? I mean, I'm looking in that fashion.